first things that you look for when assessing a new submission?
Yeah, that's probably a good place to start, I think. So first of all, thank you everybody for joining. I'm really pleased that there's been so much interest in this session. I guess the first thing to think about is kind of what the process is when a paper comes into a journal. And obviously this can vary publishing company to publishing company, it can vary journal to journal, and it can vary who's doing the different tasks. So sometimes a journal might have quite a large team of individuals that that are working on a journal. There might be numerous editorial assistants and sub-editors and all these kind of things, or it might be a much smaller organization. It might just be maybe one or two editors, an editor-in-chief working perhaps with an editorial assistant, something like that. So that sort of thing can vary quite a lot within a journal. But the process, I would say, is reasonably consistent across lots of different journals. And really the first stage we usually start with, I would say, would be kind of the more technical level checks. So when a submission first comes into me, for example, whether I'm working on the Learned Publishing Journal or whether I'm working on the Health Economics Journal, the first thing I'm thinking about really is, first of all, some very sort of basic points. So, you know, there'll be technical checks around, we'll use plagiarism detection software. We will check to make sure that the structure of the article matches what the journal would want. So if you're submitting it, say, a research article, that it follows that kind of structure of, you know, methods, results, conclusions, sort of clearly set out. If it's more of an opinion piece or something like that, a nice logical flow to that still. We'll also be looking, and I think probably one of the first things I look at is this article going to be of interest to the readers of my journal? So sometimes papers will obviously be desk rejected at an early stage, and often that can be due to quality issues, but it may not be that paper isn't of a good standard. It might just be that it's not a good fit for the journal. So the first thing I will do when I receive a paper that's passed through those plagiarism checks and technical checks is I will read it. Basically, I will have a look at the maybe not, you know, the whole thing in full if it's got quite complex methodology or whatever, but I will read the abstract. I will look at sort of the key sections within a manuscript. So looking at what perhaps the results are, looking at what the author's conclusions are, and think to myself, does that answer a question that my readers might be asking themselves? So for the Learned Publishing Journal, for example, I'm always thinking in my mind, will this article help my readers do their jobs better? You know, a lot of our audience is people working as publishing within the publishing companies, within libraries, universities, other kinds of scholarly publishing roles, be it marketing or sales or whatever else. Is this article answering a question that they might have about how to do their roles better or differently or something like that? And I think that's probably one of the most common reasons that I will do a desk reject in the first instance, is that it's just not quite a match with what my understanding of what my audience is looking for. So that's probably the most common reason, I would say, and it's probably the first thing that I will look at when a paper comes into me.